This video here is over Tai Bao. Tai Bao is a set of postures that help to develop the body, we'll say. So if you're watching this, the second video of 3. And this one here, we're going to look at some of the pieces that utilize lifting the leg. And because that's going to take a little bit of time, we're also going to include grinding movement or cucumber rise. So I did a whole video over, if you look at my videos, cucumber vines, grinding movement, and that will detail out the movement, the purpose behind it, or at least my opinion of what the purpose is. So we're going to start with leaning forward to search for the seat. Okay? So this is one of 2 movements that the body is somewhat in a flat plane with a leg up. And this one, the hands are either going to be this way or this way behind you. And if you've watched my previous video over this, I've tried to make it make sense. Don't force the arms back right into the rotator cuff. Once they get to a point where they start to get taut, then if you want to, pull the scapulas in, but don't force into your rotator cuffs, okay? So whether it's this way or this way. Now, also with this move, some people, they want to make this standing leg completely straight, others will keep it bent. Me personally, I feel keeping it bent is the best way. Why? Because I'm not putting all of that undue stress into my hip joint or to my knee joint. And if you think about it, if you were going to throw somebody, right, and you have the force of the throw, and then as you throw them, and you lock this out, which I will do it sometimes. It's not like I don't do it at all. It's just you're putting in a lot of additional load into the force into the joints, right? Where if you kept them open, you have more opportunity to transfer that, and then my leg has more, we'll say, I have more forgiveness, right? If I start to lose the balance a little bit, I can kind of move with the joints to kind of stabilize it, right? Another thing that I said in the other video, I was talking about the hip itself. So a lot of people, when they get in this position, they lift the hip like this. You want to try your best to keep it as flat as you can. Okay? And if you watched any of my videos over the forms or the belt cracking or in these Tai Bao, I'm talking about don't do like this, right? Don't throw your head out there so the weight becomes out here, right? You don't have this big hole in here. You want to try to think about the upper and the lower core and using this part of your body like a hinge, right? So I want to think about taking my torso and attaching it to my thighs. Okay? If I do that, I will make the movement smaller, and I will keep the weight more to my center, right? And in reality, what's really throwing the guy, right? Are you throwing your head up here? Or is it the explosion that you're creating from the hip, right? So, again, the first one is leaning forward is search for the seat. And the way that I like to do this movement is I will start with my feet together, and I'll bring my hands forward first, and I'll bring them back as I go to lift the leg, right? So as I come here, like I said, I'm not going to push the head out, but I'm going to try like a hinge. I'm going to try to close this. Right? So I come here, and look, I bend the leg, and then I come up behind me. Right? Now I'm talking through this, right? A little different on the concentration part, but look, the back leg is straight, right? And my arms are behind me, and I've got this knee bent. Now again, you can straighten it out, but it's going to make it kind of top heavy, which is fine, but I like to keep it bent. And look, the flatter I can be, the better. And look, I can bend forward with this, but I want to keep this leg straight. Again, you can turn the hands this way. It'll make a different stretch in the torso versus here. So you would want to do it on the left and the right. And you can do it static like that. Or, like I say, on here. I'll do it a little bit like this time. But look, I'll come here and I'll come up. I'll come back. Right? I can do my breathing. And then exhale, right? Inhale. If you're having a hard time trying to get the fundamental idea in the beginning, pick your point on the floor. Sometimes you can just, if you're doing it for yourself at home and you're trying to get better at it, maybe, put something there, a coin or an object. So then when you do this action and you move forward, I'm going to focus on that object, and it will help you to maintain your stability. Okay? So, again, these things can be done with hand weights and things like that. I'm going to do another video after I finish this, overutilizing different kind of hand weights that you can easily source or purchase. Anyway, kind of go from that. And again, as in the other video from my Sifu, he tells me there's no order to these. And I can understand that because I'm kind of put these together into some categories for doing this video because they're, in other words, they're kind of the same. But there's three kind of primary groups of them. So if you wanted to practice them at home, or in your class or something like that, I would do one that just emphasizes one thing, and then maybe do another one that emphasizes something else, and then another one. My Sifu in the 80s created a form where he combined the 13 Chiao Bao and the 24 forms together, like into a form for easy, to make it easier to remember them. You can go to his YouTube channel and find a copy of that and watch it for yourself, try to practice it. I'm going to try to make a video over that myself, probably in the next few weeks, if you're watching this in time. And not so much that I feel better than the person performing it there, but just a more accessible video, okay? But you can find his channel, John S. Wong. I don't think there's any numbers or anything past that. Or you can message me and I will see you a link. So we have three more, again, not in any particular order. So this one is pointing towards the winner. So to me, this is this movement. You can see it in Wu Tai Chi. You can see it in. I'm positive they use something similar to this in Qi as well. Now, there's differences in which hand is high and which hand is low, and I don't get wrapped up in that. I practice it both ways. But pointing towards the winner, there's other names for it. You think like you're holding a big paintbrush, right? You're painting the sky. So with this movement, I'm going to do it both ways. So, in Tai Chi too, like in, we'll say in Yang, and most of the stuff. You're doing this movement, it's called Golden Rooster stands on one leg, right? And this could be like this, or, whatever, there's some variants, but it's lifting and raising the leg. Lifting and raising the leg is so important as we age for our balance and stability, and also you can articulate this just like we did in the forms, right? If you watch my form videos, and we're doing this outer leg crooking piece, right? It's in essence, it's the same movement, okay? But I have to have a certain amount of stability to raise the leg and be on one leg in that way, and that's the reason I feel it's in the Tao Bao. But a couple of points. When you're going to do this, think about turning this foot so you've got that kind of stability with the big toe. And again, whether you do the hands this side or this side, you'll feel a little bit of a difference in a pull in the core and in your stability. So I like to do them both. And again, if you're using hand weights, that's going to kind of, affect the stability as well. But it's lifting the leg that's important. Let me use this chair for a minute. So a lot of people, when they do this move, the leg is down here like this. And that's great. I mean, if you're, I don't know, in my age bracket, and that's, and you haven't been working on this kind of stuff for a long time, and, whether you're doing it this way, right, or you've got the hands like this, and you want to have the foot like that down here, that's fine. You've got the foot up, and you're working your balance and your stability and your structure. But I like to think like this, right? So the foot's turned, and to get your leg up higher, so you stress the stability point a little bit more, find you a chair or something. I used to do this on a set of mats, right? And that way I can put my foot down if I wanted to. But find you something like this and think that you're going to bring your foot up and over, right? So from here, my foot is up and over, right? In this situation, I could set it here or whatever, but I want to have it up here if I can. And this will really work the glutes and somewhat the hamstrings and stress the core back here, right? So I want to think up and over like this. And again, whether the hands are this way or they're this way, but if you think about it, this hand will probably be lower if you were going to execute it, right? Like whether I'm holding his arm or my hands on its back and I'm using it, would probably be this side. Anyway, just two different variations. I don't see where you shouldn't practice one or the other. But what is important though is if you have the ability in your age bracket and all that, get it up here, right? Also too, if you see how I'm doing this, I'm curling the toes back a little bit, right? And the knees bent. I did it like this, I'd be up here, right? So if the higher I can get this up, the more opportunity I have to be able to contend with this timing. If I just try to do it down here and he moves his leg, I'm going to miss it altogether, right? If I'm using it for that purpose. But if I bring it up higher, I have more of an opportunity as he starts to move it to try to hook his leg. Personally. But either way, whether I'm looking at it as application piece or I'm doing it purely for structural stability, and I'm training my body, like I said, yoga posture. I want to get that thing up there as high as I can. Up in here, right? Here. And try your best to cock it out like this, right? Don't have it up straight up, kind of over to the side. Okay? And again, you could do it this way, if you wanted to do it like as a, not a static position, but you want to kind of do it dynamic. Okay. Then we've got Black Dragon playing in the water. Okay, so if we go back to the other one, right, the hands were behind us, right, this way or this way. Again, preference, right, but one way is going to stretch and open one set of muscles and the other, So this one here, I'm going to lift the one leg, but instead of me trying to be in this flat plane like this or slightly turned, I'm going to really try to lean me more at an ankle. Personally, I think you should do both of them that way, right? If I can get my leg up flat, right, like this, and my torso and my leg, and then if I want to be able to bend like this through the whole action, I feel that's great. It's sort of work my range of motion. It's going to help to strengthen my back, my core muscles, my abdominals, and my lumbar, right? But with the leaning forward to search for the sea is more for leg lifting actions, right? You're lifting something up, right? Well, it's not that the other one's not either, but some people say it's more about inner leg hooking, right? So if you look at the forearms, you went like this, and then you went this way, right? And the foot's kind of kicked out. That's another thing too. I see people that kick this foot out when they go to lift somebody in like lifting. And really it should be a strike point, right? I should keep this thing straight and use the torque of my hip and the muscles in the leg to articulate this thing. If I bend this, I take away some of that action. I'd like to make a video over that, what I'm trying to explain. The inner leg hooking, if you think about it, he's gone like this and he's turning, so he's like pulling the person up and around, right? So, so to emphasize the two, you know, the one the leg is straight, the one the leg is cocked up. But some say, you know, flat with for the leg lifting and more this way for the inner leg hooking. Personally, again, I think both of them, both ways, is good. This one, the hands are in the front. This one, the hands are like in these, you know, bird beaks, or whatever you want to call them. There's different names for them. I don't want to get into all that here. But this way, right? This one, the hands are more like this. And think of it like it's rounded like that. So like my super used to tell me, you know, like think of your hand on a roof tile, right? And like the terracotta roof tiles that were like that, so the hand is in it. So it's all, there's other names for this, like bird beak, this is one, tiger's mouth, there's all kind of variants on names. So the hands are like this in front of me, right? So with this one, instead of me, as I lift the leg, instead of me drawing this way, right, I'm going to rotate the arm, the hands, and I'm going to go out to the front. I'm going to do the same thing again. I'm going to use this as a hinge. I'm going to bend this knee. Well, that's the other thing too. Some people say that with the leg lifting piece, the leaning forward is searching to see the leg is straight, but on this one, like dragon clean in the water, that the knee should be bent. Again, I feel either way is acceptable, right? It's the action that you're doing, right? When I'm here and I go to do this move, right, I bring my leg this way and I cock it up. And I think that's should be the difference, right? And look, I want to try to think about my knee and my hip line, turn my hip over, and then look, I want to bend from here. Don't push your torso down, right? And don't do like this with your hands. My hands are fixed, okay? So say they're here, and then I'm going to bend from the hip. See? Now this will really load the hamstrings, okay? Keep the leg cocked, either pointing up or at 45. Right? Hands are here. Let the hip fall forward or flat, and then again, keep them here, one spot. The more you work these moves and focus on them, you get that stability and that balance. And so again, as my hands go forward, I'm going to bring the leg up and hook, right? So I come here, I bend, and I hook. Hands are out, and I do this part first, and then I bend from the hip. So, same thing with a leaning forward impact, right? I can do this, and I can do sets, right? Same thing with this. I come here, hook, hook. Or you can hold it static, right? And you just find that position, hold it. Like I was saying the other, right? If you find something on the floor that you can focus on and keep your eye on it, it'll be easier for you to maintain yourself. My leg is not locked. Again, I can lock it, but then it takes away some of the structural stability, right?
little core muscles and the stabilizing muscles, excuse me, they don't have to work as hard, right? We want them to do the work. So legs bent, flat, arms are out. Okay. And then the other one in this video, like I said, the cucumber lines are running smooth. And I'm not going to go through too in depth, but in the other video, like I said, whether you're doing it open hands or closed hands or open to close, right? This way, this way. To me, all of these are different variations. In the beginning, though, just try to get the hands down. You can do a simple circular rotation to start, and then you look at some of these more complex actions. Okay? If I can get the hands, some kind of flowing pattern. And if you do Tai Chi, if you think about flat hands, very similar. If you can do that action, you should be able to do the fundamental idea of these. Okay? So if you can get the hands, then keep your ankle loose, your knee loose, your hip loose. And then look, I want to start moving by using my joints, right? My ankle, my knee, my hip. Right? Open and close, idea. Go all different directions. And this is a great warm-up too. And if you get good at it, you can generate a lot of power in a short spot, right? Later, I want to be able to, do what I was just doing. I want to be able to do the hands. I want to be able to push force down into the feet to get a reaction force back, keep my ankle, my knee, and my hip loose. And then I want to be able to use my core, okay, as I'm doing these actions. Right? And look, I want to keep this loose, right? In other words, if I move to a certain point and it contracts, I'm going to let it relax, right? It contracts, I'll let it relax. So do it slowly first. When you can get to the point where you can relax and contract this, move these in the hands, you got the main idea. And then you want to try to articulate it into application. So anyway, that's those four. With one video left, and if you're watching this in time, I'll do it sometime in the next few days, the latest by next weekend. This is a Sunday. So I hope you liked it, and I hope the explanation makes sense. But again, there's, and I'm trying to say this to all my videos, not because I'm trying to, set me over here aside and say I'm great or something like that. But please understand there's multiple versions of the Tai Bao, the squat forms, the belt cracking. Some have more pieces to the set, some people have less. Some, the movements are real hard and somewhat rigid, some are very flowy. It just, it depends on what you've been exposed to, the experiences you've gotten, who your sifu is, their underlying approach and how that may have, shaped your opinion. Whether you're doing them for yourself as a student or pupil, or you're doing them as an instructor or teacher, right? So none of that is wrong. Those guys, they do it like that, so they're bad. These guys, that's great. That you're basing that purely on the aesthetics, right? But can you take it a step further and go, well, I'm not for sure about that because it's not coordinated, right? Or this movement is, it's uniquely they're doing it this way, but maybe they don't have the stability point. Whatever it may be, it's okay to look at things like that, but you still shouldn't chastise people and say, well, they're no good, because there may be even a deeper point of why they do it broken, right? Maybe they're doing